Happy Monday. So, are we live? Is this working? I'm not sure if this is happening or not. Yes, now we're live. Hello, everybody. So, happy Monday. I'm in reflective mood today, and that's not to say it's a negative state of being, just thoughtful. So, yeah, I've got some thoughts on loneliness and grief and our basic need for connection. And this is inspired by my own experiences over the past month and what others have been saying to me, plus binge watching After Life on Netflix, highly recommended, and also Tara Brach's latest talk, which is called Sheltering in Love. The link is in the this event note. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has seen Afterlife. It's a comedy drama with the Marmite that is Ricky Gervais. And regardless of whether you're on that love him or hate him side, I'd highly recommend watching it if you have Netflix. Series 2 has just aired, and I really enjoyed Series 1. I've been looking forward to Series 2. And I find it not only hilarious, but also really moving and really authentic. Because Ricky Gervais's character he seems so real in what he's experiencing, which is a lot of grief because the love of his life has died. And he has a lot of suicidal thoughts, which got me thinking about the talk I did with Alice Lyons last week. Again, if you haven't seen that, much recommended. She's got a lot of really wonderful things to say around suicidal ideation. But yeah, really enjoyed binge watching Series 2 of Afterlife, and it really got me thinking about grief again and what we're all experiencing, or most of us, I would say, are experiencing from what I've heard during the lockdown. So we're probably grieving various losses, whether it's our job, our freedom, our lifestyle, hugging people, seeing our friends, seeing our family members, pursuing our hobbies, going to our favourite restaurants and cafes. Loads of stuff to grieve. And I think it's really important just to acknowledge that grief is real and it's painful. So, what can we do about it? We can support each other and we can connect with ourselves as well. So, I saw something on Facebook the other day about someone saying that we're all in the same boat with the lockdown, but actually we're not. We're all in some kind of boat on some choppy, uncharted waters, but our own experiences of it are very individual. So we're all having a unique experience of lockdown. Some are loving it, some are hating it, some are switching between anger, grief, anxiety, seeing it as an opportunity to reevaluate their lives, to connect with themselves, to connect with the peace and nature, going inwards. So it's lots of different experiences going on. We're all having unique experiences, but we're having ups and downs, most of us, I would suggest, from what I've heard and what people are saying to me. So, unless you're a key worker, we're probably all experiencing a similar lifestyle at the moment, in that we're kind of within the confines of our home for 23 hours a day. And that brings with it challenges and opportunities. And what I got from the latest Tara Brach talk was a lot of stuff around loneliness and connection. So loneliness, there's been a lot of research into how it affects us physiologically, psychologically, emotionally. And it's got a massive impact on our well-being. So a recent study in the US said that we are 50% more likely to die prematurely if we experience loneliness, if we're generally disconnected. It's to do with having a weakened immune system. We're kind of hardwired for connection. And if we don't get that connection, for whatever reason, whether it's a pandemic or we're depressed or we're just living in a lighthouse on a desert island, whatever it is, it has a massive detrimental effect, equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Wow. And this research has been carried out across various different species, and regardless of whether you are an ant or a mouse or a chimpanzee or an orphan in Romania, it's really serious, debilitating stuff, loneliness. And one study that I particularly liked, which is connected to afterlife, is that if you have a dog, you are 24% less likely to die prematurely by any cause. So that shows you the kind of connectedness that you can get from having a loving pet. So what sort of things does it do to us? Well, loneliness makes us hypervigilant. So anxiety could be there all the time, which impacts our sleep. I wonder how many of you guys are struggling with sleep, maybe waking up more during the night, struggling to get to sleep or struggling to get back to sleep. Let me know. I've experienced some of that over the past month myself. It makes it harder for us to eat sensibly. I know a lot of people I'm connecting with are saying that their diets have gone to pot. They're comfort eating, they're reaching for sugar and fatty foods, takeaways, all that type of stuff, deliver-aways. It makes it harder for us to exercise regularly and just look after our general well-being. So it can have a lot of impacts on our physical well-being as well as our mental and emotional well-being. And if we are feeling lonely, then that can lead to embarrassment about our situation. We can be embarrassed by our lack of connection and feel ashamed about that. And it feels shameful to hold on to this lonely being. We're seeing ourselves as something which is less than it should be. So quite often then we might try and cover it up. And the different ways that Tara Brach talks about how we cover up our loneliness are by depressing it. We push it down into our unconscious, and that very often leads to depression. Depress something, we push it down, we get depressed because we haven't attended to that longing, that need that we have. Another thing we might do, which I can definitely resonate with from before I set up the Thrive Hive, was withdrawal. So I used to withdraw from society quite a lot and found myself sat here, not connecting with people in any real way. So in a sense, lockdown for me hasn't changed my day-to-day activities massively, apart from not delivering any mental health first aid courses and not traveling down to London every week for college. But I am doing that stuff through the computer, and I'm connecting to people. I'm connecting to myself more. So what else might happen? We withdraw, we can depress. Also, we can get obsessive about certain things. So it's a kind of defense mechanism against feeling the loneliness, and it might manifest in overworking. It might manifest in buying lots of stuff, over-consuming, trying to get some fulfillment from material goods. What else? Substances. So alcohol sales have gone up quite a lot, I believe. Maybe that's just because the pubs are shut, but maybe people are turning to it for comfort. I don't know. Other substances, drugs, food, internet, any kind of addictions, which are substitutes for actually feeling the loneliness. And certainly if you were there for the EFT session, Emotional Freedom Technique, the tapping thing that Marcus did about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, I was the guinea pig. And the issue that I brought there was my cycles of overeating. So you might not think it to look at me, I'm pretty slim, but at times I turn to food for comfort and I overeat, and quite often it is sugary stuff, or it's comfort food when I'm not hungry. So we worked on that during that session. It was really useful. So I recommend watching it back if you haven't already done so. Maybe check it out on the YouTube channel if you can't find it on the Hive. So what was I going to say about that? Yeah, so for me, I realised that the overeating for me was a substitute for meaningful human connection. So yeah, we all need it, whether it's a romantic relationship or close friends or family around us, even just having a cup of tea with our neighbours or whatever it is. If we're not getting that, there's a basic human need there that is that isn't being met, and we try to meet those needs with these substitutes, which are usually not helpful. Some people do obsessive exercise. So yeah, tune in on Thursday for Hayley's talk about borderline personality disorder. She talks a lot about the kind of obsessive behaviours that she used to use. I'll say in the past tense because it's mostly overcome now. In order to, I'm paraphrasing here, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but it was a coping mechanism for her. So, yeah, we can then, by doing all of these different behaviours to distract from what we're really feeling, we can really lose contact with our own vulnerability. We lose contact with how it feels to be lonely because it's too hard. It is a difficult feeling to cope with. And what Tara Brach is suggesting, and which I can definitely, I'm going to second it, is actually to stay with it, stay with the feeling, be with that feeling, as uncomfortable as it may be, and try and work through it. It hurts, especially at first. It can be really painful from my own experience, but it is the way back to connection to yourself. And when you connect to yourself, it's a lot easier to connect to others. And this is what I felt over the past month or so since setting up the Hive. I was feeling pretty disconnected, and yeah, when I've talked before about the big dip that I had, maybe a week into the coronavirus crisis really hitting here, and it felt like the rug had been pulled from underneath me. I saw the chasm, I saw the darkness, I felt the fear, so much anxiety, unsurety, and lack of groundedness. And yeah, I've done various things to pull myself out of that and be pulled out of it as well, because it's a community thing. So thank you, all you guys, for your part in that. Yeah, so stay with it and maybe work out where's it coming from. And with most of these kind of issues, it usually has its roots in childhood, whether it's some kind of attachment issue with our caregivers, or some early trauma that we experienced, which is difficult. So a way to approach this is to approach yourself like you would a frightened child, like you would the 5-year-old you. So with gentleness, kindness, and compassion. And I think I've talked before about RAIN, which is Tara Brach's acronym for how to approach difficult things with mindfulness and compassion. So the R stands for recognizing. So if you're feeling lonely, if you're feeling disconnected, name it. Speak it out loud. This is what I'm feeling. I'm acknowledging that I feel lonely at this time. And that's the start of healing. Just recognizing, acknowledging, either writing it down, saying it out loud to yourself, talking to a friend. So recognize. The A is to allow. So that's what Tara's saying about just being with that feeling of loneliness. Okay, I'm feeling really disconnected at the moment. It's uncomfortable, but instead of running away from it or pushing it down or reaching for the substitutes, just try and be with it. And then the I of rain is to investigate. So that's not a psychological, right, where's this come from, trace it all the way back to childhood kind of thing. It's more of a, where do you feel it in your body? So meditation and mindfulness helps here. Just close your eyes, go inwards. Okay, feeling lonely, where is it? Is it in your throat? Is it in your belly? What does it look like? What does it feel like? Does it have a colour? Is there an image that comes up? So really get in touch with it. Embody that feeling. That's the I, investigate. And the final one is N, which is to nurture. So that's to really bring some mindfulness and compassion to yourself. And this is how Tara Brach is saying we get back towards healing. It is really by reparenting, as a kind of spiritual reparenting of ourselves. So whatever we didn't get as a child, or the negative stuff that we did get, we can maybe throughout life we've felt not good enough, not lovable, disconnected, imperfect, flawed, whatever it is for you. You can rewire your brain by bringing compassion, nurturing yourself back to loving and healing. So it really is just, in a word, it is loving yourself, recognizing that you are enough. And that can allow you to let go of the shame of disconnection and loneliness, and to, once you've reconnected with yourself, your true soul nature, as this pure, wonderful being that you are, even if I don't know you, I know that you are a pure and wonderful, loving being. You are. Can you say that to yourself? If you can't, maybe try this rain practice. And so spiritual reparenting. So that was what today's talk was all about from Tara. Have a listen. It's about 45 minutes, if you want. Next week, she's going to talk about the community aspect of how we can bring mindfulness and compassion to loneliness and reconnect ourselves through community. So I look forward to that one. So yeah, like I say, I've gone inwards. I've felt all the darkness. I've built up a lot of confidence over the past month. I've built up a lot of connection to myself and to the wider world, a lot of it through this medium, through the Thrive Hive and various other groups that I'm connected to. From that, I've found more of a sense of purpose, and I've really connected to my authenticity as well. And here I am again, being very authentic, I hope. As authentic as I can be anyway. And that feels good. It feels good. It felt good last week to reach out and say, I need some help. So whatever it is you're feeling, overwhelmed, fearful, anxious, underconfident, disconnected, lonely, try out these practices that Tara and I bang on about. Rain, bring compassion, bring mindfulness, sit with it, work through it, and ask for help. You know, this community, I think, is building into a wonderful thing, and I'm really excited about this new schedule we've got, which is a lot more to do with connection. It's a lot more to do with community. It isn't just me talking to special guests 6 days a week. It's about us coming together and supporting each other, bringing ourselves, being authentic, talking about our feelings, talking about mental health, and being there for each other, sharing in that experience, whatever it is for you. Whatever it is for you is okay. It's okay. And we will get through this. We may be different when we get to the other side, but different isn't always bad. Change can be a very good thing. So yeah, I want to thank you for your part in making the Hive what it is, and for partially facilitating these positive changes in myself. And by experiencing and embodying all of this change in myself, hopefully I can bring something more to you. Because, 2 months ago, I don't think I would have been able to do this. And if I had been able to do it, I don't think it would have been as much value to the people who hopefully are finding some value in it now. Because I've had to go to the dark place to feel the light again. So thank you for that. And I'm not saying I've got it sussed, I'm not saying I'm there. I'm not the finished article. I will have another dip, I'm sure. I will feel the fear again. All sorts of challenging things will lie ahead, and that's okay. I'm just a massive advocate for talking about feelings, acknowledging what's going on for us, sharing it, really recognizing it in ourselves and sharing it with others. I find it incredibly empowering, liberating, and connecting. And that's what this is all about, really. It's about connection. So, if you are feeling something uncomfortable today, tomorrow, next week, next month, I don't like using the word advice, my experience that I can share with you as being beneficial is to, however uncomfortable the feeling is, acknowledge it, investigate it, nurture it. Once you've done that within yourself, reach out in community. Be authentic, be real. Don't be ashamed. Don't feel that like there's anything wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with you. You are a pure, loving, perfect being having a human existence, which is by definition difficult and flawed and imperfect and challenging. And that's okay. And we'll get through it. You will get through this. So please reach out if there's any support I can give you, if there's any support the community can give you, or if you just want to vent, put it out there. Do not push it down. Depress it will lead to either depression and or anger. And one or other will come up like a volcano or swamp you like a choppy ocean. So, yeah, speak. Do so. Yeah, that's my message for today. And what are you doing at 8 o'clock tonight? What's that? What's that you say? You're going to go to YouTube for the premiere of Sid Cooper talking about the crisis of meaning, which is kind of what this is all about as well. He's a student of philosophy and psychology. He's also a very wonderful musician and a very wonderful, pure, loving, connected soul. He's a wonderful human being, as am I, as are you. So listen in, 8 o'clock, YouTube on the Pathlight Limited channel, and maybe we can have a watch party. I'll set up a watch party if I'm around just before 8 o'clock today. Highly recommended. Inspiring, skin-tingling talk. So here endeth today's sermon. I hope you found that useful. We've got a comment. Rachel from a while ago said, I totally agree with you. It's different for all of us. Yes, it is. I'm finding that I get very tired and need to sleep more. Cool. Yeah, whatever you need. It's good to acknowledge those needs. Sleep more, talk more, go outside more, eat more, whatever you need to do. If it's healthy, do it. If it's not so unhealthy, try and do it in a mindful way and just bring compassion to it. Great. Yeah, lots of that kind of low-level anxiety that's constant is probably draining. Maybe that's what's happening for you, Rachel. I know that's happening for a lot of people. It's hard to feel the unknown, to sit with anxiety for a long period of time. Anyway, that's all. Thank you for listening, if indeed there was anybody listening. See you soon and take care. Sending love. End.